Okay, good afternoon. So welcome to our talk today on leading a green finance technology and carbon future. Our speaker today are Mr. Dennis Wu, Mr. Kenny Seal, and Mr. Raymond Low. They are all very experienced professionals in the field of environmental, social, governance sector. Without further ado, let me hand over to our speaker to kickstart our online seminar today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Raymond. I'm from British Standard Institutions, the Enterprise Solutions and Marketing Directors. Today, I would like to discuss a little bit more about what we are going to do on standards. BSI is a standards institution. We create the standards about carbon future on the sustainability side. So let me a little bit introduce the other two speakers. What I would do is provide more on the trend on the sustainability and road to carbon neutrality. So first of all, why we are having challenge on the climate challenge. The first thing is about the global warming, and then we all know that about the Paris agreements that we need to reach and manage not more than 2 degrees Celsius on the climate changes. And also that's also impacting all the resources availability and economic ability. So basically, how does it lead to the impacting on the financial market? First of all the climate changes and environmental will be impacting all the resources that we're creating for commercial process and also increase the cost of business operations. And also with the risk management, we also have the requirement of the business to manage the environmental. We're also talking about the transparency. We're always talking about the ESG reporting, and also we talk about your TCFD, Task Force of the Climate Risk Disclosure. Those of the reporting is also talking about the commercial and the transparencies to the market. And also later on, we will introduce some of the green technology as well with other speakers. All those green technology is helping us to create and determine to decrease the carbon emissions. But what I'm going to discuss more on the net zero. So people have always heard about net zero, carbon neutrality. So first of all, we need to determine what is carbon neutrality and what is net zero. The first, based on the standard, the carbon neutrality is you can use some carbon offset, which is not under, which we're always talking about the carbon exchange market, to purchase the carbon offset to offset what you have produced on the greenhouse gas. But however, for net zero, we have the commitment to produce zero carbons with our operation, with our business natures. So in the whole world, we are competing. It's more like a competitions at the moment for the countries and between countries. Most of the country is setting their carbon neutrality goal at 2060 or 2050. For your reference, in Hong Kong, we are setting our target at 2050. And we also have the target to minimize, to decrease half of our carbon by 2025. So right now it's 2023 right now. Okay, we only have 2 years more to reduce our carbon within 50%. So that will be, is it a really challenging for Hong Kong? I believe that a lot of technologies and more of the carbon future is processing at the moment. So maybe later on the other two speakers will cover more about the future. So we normally have general process for carbon neutrality, but for today in this sharing, I would like you to remember four important wordings. First of all, on measurements. So normally we talk about the greenhouse gas measurement, and we are talking about the greenhouse gas reducing deductions about how to manage the carbon. But the first thing, more importantly, is how do we measure and on the greenhouse gas. If we don't measure how many greenhouse gas we are producing, no matter how many technology you are going to implement or how many reductions or management you've done, is not going to help and give you a target. So measurement, give you a digital number will be one of our key objectives. Once you have the measurement, you will start processing about the investment. Investment means the implements of the green technology and also investing on how to manage policy and also investing on the human resources to employ more of the talents in the market. So it comes down to the second point about reduce and management. Reduce and management is more importantly based on the standard, the international standards, PAS 2060 carbon neutrality standard. We always talking about is not only purchasing the carbon credit, is we first do the reductions and we first do the management. And thirdly, we are talking about the offset, which is the carbon exchange, which is Hong Kong. We just launched about the core climates to do the offset. Last but not least is the declare. The declare means that you claim that yourself your carbon neutrality and also have the reporting, have the resources to prove in you. Most likely we use the ESG reporting and also with the certification to help on that. So comes down to the standard, we will be talking about a lot of different standards that will be measured, reduce, and offset. The first thing that I would like to introduce is ISO 14030, which is a environmental performance evaluations of the green debt instrument. Green debt instrument is all about green financing we are measuring about. So it's talking about when you're getting a loan or issuing a bond for the green. How is the measurements on that? Should we put on the KPI? Should we put on a green project? That will be determined by the standard to let us know. The other things is about measurement is 14064, the organizational carbon footprint measurement. And also we have talking about 14067, which is the product carbon footprint. Those are the measurement standards that's telling us how do we do the measurement. No matter how many tools or you can find a lot of different markets have the ideas and telling you the boundary about the base here, they all come down to these two important standards about from the ISO, International Standard Organization, to produce and give you the guideline how to do the measurement. Comes to the reduce and management, we will be talking about more likely on the organization, or we'll talk about energy management. For the energy management, we're telling you how to reduce at least 30% to 40% with the policy, with the educations, and with the training to your employee and to the market to help you to reduce the electricity or even on the gas as well. And with the offset, normally in Hong Kong, we're talking about with the VCS, Voluntary Carbon Standard, and also with the Gold Standard, which is two standards adopted in the core climate market. And we also have the Chinese Carbon Emission Reduction, which is what we call a CCER, the market that we're talking about in the China, which is on the compliance carbon credit. So just here to share more about what is the compliance and voluntary that we always heard about the carbon credit. With the compliance carbon credit in the old history, we are always compliance carbon credit can use of any offset, but only for voluntary is mainly for those selective. For example, for our company, if I want to offset, we need to use the compliance carbon credit. But if I have an event, I have a product, I want to say it is carbon neutrality, we can use the voluntary. But however, from the time to time being, right now for the voluntary and the compliance market is a little bit mixing up right now. It's more likely it depends on the countries and the government, do they accept this standard as the carbon offset scheme to do the carbon neutrality process. At the end, as I mentioned before, for declare, we will be using PAS 2060 carbon neutrality. PAS means the public available standard is going to become an ISO standard in maybe 2 years' time. What we call is ISO 14068. That will be our carbon neutrality international standard will be coming within like next year or 2025. So that will be all comes down to give you carbon neutrality certificates, what we call showcase to the public about you doing something about the carbon neutrality. So as I mentioned, all those four wordings is measurement, reduce and manage, offset, and declare. But all these four elements will be also with the investment. Which is what we call green finance is all the initial stage for your sustainability. Measure and invest, that will be the initial stage for processing. So normally when we measuring green projects or green activities, we will putting on the sustainability development goals. So what we normally process with the matching with those 17 goals. So for example, what we call green building will be comes down to 11 sustainability city and communities, and maybe solar power will goes down to number 7, affordable and clean energy. That's always we need to match and measure with the sustainability development goals. But this is not the only measurement that we look into, because we're also talking about the ethics as well, and we're also talking about the technology, how we can process and do it. So those things for the measurement, I will right now just hope everyone to look into 14064 and 14067, which is doing the carbon measurement to help your company or help the product to create with the carbon neutrality process. So that's the whole general process that I have been talking about for the stand-up mapping on that. So basically, it will helping you to go beyond and go towards the carbon neutrality. That's only 4 little steps is A, get the measurement, minus B, reduce and manage, and C, with the carbon offset and equal to 0. That's what we call carbon neutrality. Simple equation, A minus B minus C equal to 0. That will be how I present with the international standard. Thank you very much. And I pass to Mr. Dennis Wu to talk about green finance.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Raymond. Okay, I'm Dennis. I will talk about green finance and green tech investment and environmental targets, and some environmental issues need to be funded by green finance and green investment, and green tech is very important elements for that. And according to the UN's platforms, there's a lot of NGOs to push the initiative on green finance, including UNFI and Stock Exchange, PRI, Equator Principles, and also the PSI. And to know about what's green finance included 2 parts. One is green debt, and the other part will be green investments. Traditionally, when we divide green finance, we talk about any finance or investments, talk about relate to environmental issues, then we will treat it as a green finance. But after the formations of EU, and there will be a new definitions, EU extend the definitions of a green finance to include social and governance areas, like basically it's included ESG 3 elements. We have a more modern definitions of sustainable finance after the establishment of the 17 SDG goals as mentioned by Raymond before. Those finance and investment can achieve the targets of FDGs, then it can classify as green finance or green investments. Okay, let's look at the investment side. There are lots of fundings in investments, funds and asset owners to pour the money into the green investment. There will be about like US dollar 121 trillions as our 221, and there are more than 4,000 asset owners participate in this initiative. And normally is why people want to do ESG investment, because they want to balance the risk and return characteristic, and because environmental is very important nowadays. And the second one will be a value-based investment. That's they want to make investments based on that belief. And the third one will be the impact investments. They will look at pour the money into the capital market and hope to trigger the change on social and environmental purposes. Okay, we can see the sustainability investment spectrums from traditional to ESG investment to impact investments. For traditional investments, the market return will be the first priority for them to consider. For ESG strategy related, they kind of like they will think about the impact. It's good to have, but not the main purpose. For the impact investments, they will look at the impact first, and then the return will come along with. And on the missing part on the right hand side will be the like charities, like we do donate money with no return, but we also will help the environmental issue, right? And for avoid adoption greenwashing, SDG will be one of the useful tools, and we can see some of the SDG goals numbers are matched with the investment, like number 8, 7, 11, and 13. Those are related to environmental as well. And for the green tech investment, a lot of people say, green tech investment, we want to invest in those investments, but what are those? And basically, according to the green tech organizations, there are 5 categories. One is energy. Energy means that renewable energy, new energy, energy efficiency improvement. The second category will be green buildings, about like green building, and particularly on a green data center in our Web 3.0 age. And the third one will be environmental preferred processing. That means sustainable procurement. And fourth will be the green chemistry. And fifth will be the green nanotechnology. And in the past, when we have increase in human well-being or economic activities, usually we use more resources and also create more environmental impact. But nowadays, we try to decouple the resources we use. We have more resources, we have more economic activities, but the resources we use is decreasing and help to create less impact to our environment. So we need green tech to help us. There are some samples of green tech here. For example, the hydrogens and low carbon materials like bamboo and seawater coolings. Those are some of the examples. And when we do green investment, we will go through some venture capital investment from angel round to the round A, B, C to vesting and IPO. Before, there are only a very limited resources or access to capital market, but now we have different kind of funding sources. So we have more choices, and everyone's doing the green tech investment or venture investment. They're dreaming of unicorns. That means that the valuation was over $1 billion in a short period of time. There are almost over 450 worldwide unicorns in the world. And the other one, so I'm talk about say DCM market, the debt market. There are lots of money, but they also see the increasing trends and more diversity. Green will be the dominant area, and there are lots of green finance standards you need to fulfill it so that you're eligible for green finance. Okay, for global standards, we have ICMA standard, which is principle based, and for the Green Bond Initiative, there's more like a chatterbox type, and for global ISO 14030 is also a chatterbox type. In China, they have a green bond endorsed project category, and they have update version by 2020. And Hong Kong, we have HKQA as well. So what's the most important thing in the standards will be the taxonomy. That means use of proceeds purpose. Okay, you can see from different type of the standards, they have some objective to meet so that you can call your project green project. Okay. The very common type will be the energy efficiency, clean transportation, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and green building. So those are the common type within those standards, and we will have different classes in HKU space to talk about in details. Okay, and when we look at the use of process around the world, China and Hong Kong, we find that energy will be the primary use of process for global in China. Second one will be buildings. But in Hong Kong, it's different. Building will be the first one, and the energy will be the second one. And why it's so important for us to handle the building emission and put more money in creating more green buildings, because buildings consume 9% of the electricity, and 66% of the electricity contributes to electricity generation contributes 66% of the carbon emissions. So we need to handle it. And the other elements in the standard will be, beside the user process, will be the how you need to explain in your framework how you select projects and how you manage the process and reporting. In QAA and other standards, those four elements will be the backbone, but they will have a local addition to it. For example, QA, they will have an impact assessment, stakeholder engagement. With the different standards, with the taxonomy, we can have a bunch of potential use of process from green financing, like digital transformation, new energy, decarbonization, and all these things. And let's look at some of the examples in the sustainable finance framework. We picked Link Asset Management. They have a sustainable finance framework, and they have different areas to talk about, like they take care of environmental, social, and governance. And within environmental, they will take care about green building, energy use efficiency, emissions reduction. Okay. And they also have some, when we look at the framework, as I mentioned before, they will have 4 core elements like use process, project evaluation, management of process, and reporting. So those are laid down in the framework as well. In Linked, have the green bond very early, back to 2016, is a very vanilla conventional green bonds. Basically, everything will be the same, but the use of process will focus on the green development, like building wind, to get the green building standard and certification. But for bond issuing, definitely you need to have the credit rating as well. And besides very conventional like bond issuance, they also have some sustainability-linked loan issued before. What is sustainability-linked loan? Actually, the terms of the loans will depends on the indicators or the KPI they achieve. In the framework, they already have a very clear indicator within the different categories. For example, environmental under green building, they have a list of eligible buildings as green building standards. And for energy efficiency, they will calculate the energy intensity and energy consumption reductions that they achieve. And that's all those indicators will affect the terms of the loan as well. And also for the social parts, they will also have some indicators as well. For example, weight of local employment rate. Yeah. And the other things that we talk about is like most popular will be the renewable energy farms financings. Those we have different, the scales will be larger, and we have different types of renewable energies. And we show some examples of international financing of those renewable energies for infrastructures and initiatives. And there will be some new trends, okay, for transition financings to help people to do the carbon reductions. And there are 2 standard ICMA and climate risk climate bond initiative, and they depends on different levels of carbon reductions initiative. And if you can fit in those categories, and you can get the transition financing. And we can have some selected case on that. For example, New World Developments, they issue the sustainability-linked bonds. They under the CBI's the Pathway to Zero category. And what the money is for? They will use it for building the on-site renewable energy power, and also will reach a long-term power purchase agreement. That means power purchase agreements with third-party electricity supplier and partners that produce green energy. And for the third one, so they will have a collaboration with third party to purchase renewable energy certificate as well. So now I pass it to Kenny to talk about the HKEX carbon trading's cold climate.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. And thanks Hong Kong U Space invite me to talk about on carbon trading and core climate. Okay. Last year, 28th of October 2022, Hong Kong Exchange has issued a new carbon marketplace for carbon trading. Why choose Hong Kong for the carbon trading? Because Hong Kong is a reliable trading platform, and this is a trust marketplace, and there are a lot of global players in Hong Kong. Remember this, the whole world, then Hong Kong is the carbon credits is a kind of incentives for the corporate to lower the carbon for the world, and carbon credits can be traded in Europe, in China now, and there's a new place in Hong Kong. The carbon price in Europe is about 60-something euros, and in China is about 50-something RMB. But in Hong Kong, it might be in between euros and PRC. So somebody may ask how to get the project from China and list it in Hong Kong. It might be a chance for them to doing this. If your project was held by a foreign company in Hong Kong and in other countries, and using some international company like BSI for the verification of the standard, and ask some international accounting firms for the use of the money in carbon credits, and then you can list in Hong Kong. Something I wanted to clarify this, there is something difference between net zero and carbon neutrality. Net zero means that from your production and the whole process, no carbon will be emitted. But for carbon neutrality, they permit them, they can produce carbon in the factories, but can be offset by doing some process, for example, doing some forestry, or maybe using the solar farm or hydro farm, electricity. If one of the company, or maybe business A, they have excess emissions, they should buy, they can sell some of the emission credits to the business B that they're not doing so well. The amount or the price they can negotiate in between them, or maybe trade on the exchange market. So Hong Kong Exchange, this is a kind of trading on the voluntary carbon emission. What is the potential of voluntary carbon trading in the world? From the McKinsey, they project that in terms of dollars, they will be 100-fold from 2020 to 2050. So this is a huge market for these 30 years. From 28th October, they're going for 4 weeks. There are over 40 trades complete by over 20 core climate participants. And trading volume is about 400,000 tons. And there is about, in the initial stage, there are 30-something international projects on the platform. Now they are allowed 20 corporate entities. They can be the participants of Hong Kong Exchange Core Climate, including 4 PRC bank and 2 Hong Kong banks. One is HSBC, one is Standard Chartered, and some is some utilities companies such as CLP or China Gas. Okay. And I have do a summary of the projects. Totally, there are 37 projects have been launched in the first stage. Most of them are forestry. This is about 13 projects is forestry, and the remaining is biomass, hydropower, solar, and wind. In terms of amount, forestry is about 51%, but in terms of amount, it's about 76%, because the price, the transactor price is a little bit different. The corporate, they are willing to pay more on forestry rather than the other project types of biomass, hydropower, solar, and wind. For this type of projects, it's around 4-point-something to 5. But for forestry, is 2-point-something times of the other projects, because forestry, they have a longer period for absorption of their carbons. In Hong Kong Exchange, they are using the VERA. This is the largest organization. They operate the verified carbon standard. It takes about 80% of all the voluntary carbon emission market. They have their methodology. They have introduced, and all the company or the owners wanted to register that their carbon credits should follow their methodology, or maybe they can submit the methodology for their approval. Remember that China is the largest carbon polluters in the world. Why? Because China is the largest global factory in the world, and it is about double of the United States. But in terms of per capita, China is not number 1. US is the second. China may be is far low, about below this. Okay. In Hong Kong, how we can join the parties of the carbon credit trading. Last year, one of the developer asked me how to join this party. I gave this methodology for them to have a consideration on this. In the VERA VCS, they have a methodology called VM0043. It's the method for the fixation of carbon dioxide in concrete production. The developer, they will produce a lot of concrete for the construction. If they can fix the carbon dioxide, in one terms, they can lower the carbon intensity of the company. On the other hand, they can produce some money in terms of the what the amount of carbon dioxide they can fix. So it might be a new opportunity for them to earn money on this. So this is one of the typical case for Hong Kong, how to enter the market. Okay. I think any question or should be asked within us.
Yeah, so thank you all for joining us today. If you would like to learn more about this topic, so please feel free to check out our website for related courses, such as our certificate for module in leadership in applied ESG and sustainability, climate risk management and resilience, and applied ESG and intelligent technology. So these 3 courses are all CEF reimbursable courses, and they are a good starting point to learn more on the ESG sector. So thank you all for joining us today, and goodbye.